This week on Wham Bam Dashcam, we've got Whams, we've got Bams, and we've got plenty of Dashcams. Let's get this show on the road. Alex and his wife had just picked up their daughter from karate class and were on their way home when they found themselves in the middle of a huge storm with high winds and heavy rain. Alex told us he was going about 30 miles per hour due to the low visibility when he slammed on the brakes for debris in the road. He managed to slide to a stop before hitting a downed tree, but the driver behind him wasn't able to stop. Alex's Infiniti Q50 was launched over the downed tree when a Subaru slammed into it from behind. Firefighters, paramedics, and the State Highway Patrol all responded to the scene. Miraculously, there were no serious injuries, and Alex's daughter Sophia was completely unharmed. His insurance claim is still pending, but he said it seems pretty cut and dry as far as liability is concerned. He wanted to shout out his daughter for being a trooper and told us she insists on watching both Wham Bam Dashcam and Wham Bam Teslacam with him every week. Casey and his wife were going shopping when they watched a pickup truck run a red light and slam into a car almost 8 seconds after the light had changed.
Whoa! A massive accident just happened in front of us.
They pulled over and stayed with the victims until first responders arrived, and Casey told us they didn't appear to have any serious injuries. They left after giving a statement and offering their footage to the responding deputy. Noah was driving late one night when he watched an oncoming Toyota RAV4 drive down the sidewalk before colliding with a power pole. Noah turned around and began following the SUV as the driver made her way back onto the road before driving down oncoming lanes all the way home. This is in Australia, so everything is backward there. When the 83-year-old woman eventually made it into her garage, Noah followed her and called the police. He told us they breathalyzed her and her blood alcohol level was .118. That's all it took for her to have her license suspended and an appointment at the local courthouse made where she'll get to tell her side of the story. Noah used the word allegedly throughout his narrative, so we'll take this opportunity to remind you that everything we say on this channel comes from our submitters' own words. We're only telling you what they told us. Hyra was getting ready to make a right turn onto a main road using a turn lane with a yield sign. When he stopped for cross traffic, he got Honda bumped. Hyra has some kind of crazy 4-channel dashcam system in his Lincoln Town Car, and he captured footage of the collision from a total of 6 angles, if you also count his 2-channel dashcam mounted to the windshield. He wanted to point out that his camera system has better colors than Tesla's cameras do. That might have been true when he sent this to us, but Tesla recently pushed a software update to improve their cameras. Can his do that? Seriously though, that's an awesome setup. If you're shopping for a dashcam, remember, the more angles, the better. Reese was driving down a road with double yellow lines when a pickup driver ahead of him decided to illegally pass a whole bunch of cars. I'm betting he wasn't expecting what happened next. Reese told us he pulled into a parking lot to save this footage, the first time he's ever captured instant justice on his dashcam. He told us he's tickled to finally have something to send to Wham Bam Dashcam. Timothy was driving down a Florida highway when a silver Audi SUV started merging into his lane, forcing him into the gore point to avoid a collision. Timothy is thankful he was able to dodge the Audi in the gore point instead of a lane that could have contained other traffic. Rory watched the driver of a Honda Fit try to shoot the gap between cars that were waiting to leave the parking lot, but another car turning into the parking lot had no chance to avoid hitting them. Rory told us neither driver appeared injured after the collision. Who do you think was at fault here? Post your expert opinion in the comments. Lander was on his way to the bank with his family when he slowed down and stopped at a stop sign. The motorcyclist behind him decided he didn't feel like doing this and blew past Lander before speeding off. Lander told us his brother drives a Model 3 and he aspires to also drive a Tesla one day. Our channel inspired him to install a dashcam in his Nissan Leaf. He wanted to shout out his mom, sister, brother, and his girlfriend. Sam was headed to the airport to pick up a relative when the driver of a box truck decided to pass him on the right by driving up and over the sidewalk. Then, as he forced his way in front of Sam, he hit Sam's side view mirror. The box truck drove off while Sam stopped to check for damage. He was able to fold it back into place, and he chose not to report the incident since nothing was damaged. Robin watched the driver of a black Ford pull out in front of a work truck, forcing the driver to slam on the brakes.
What are you doing?
Robin told us the lady driving the Ford floored it and kept going, leaving the driver of the work truck to collect himself before they both continued. Mike was driving down a New Jersey highway when he spotted a Tesla driver in the lane next to him, and he was about to become this week's Tesla behaving badly.
That Tesla man can't drive. That Tesla man can't drive.
Evidently, the Tesla driver wasn't paying attention as they plowed into the car ahead of them, triggering a chain reaction that would end up involving 4 vehicles. Now, that Tesla man can't drive. Chris was on his way to meet up with friends for dinner when he was nearly sideswiped by a Chevy Cobalt. Chris honked and swerved, but then a convenient cop came out of nowhere to serve up some instant justice. Chris told us it looked like the Cobalt was being driven by a teenager with his dad in the passenger seat. He kept driving and told his girlfriend, "We're about to be on Wham Bam Dashcam." This submitter watched the driver of a white car run a red light and get T-boned by an oncoming blue car. Our submitter kept going, but he told us he saw someone else stop to help the drivers. He wanted to shout out his children, Valentine and Alanis. Andrew was headed to a store when he approached a roundabout notorious for collisions and close calls. As he approached it, he was surprised that it seemed to be empty, but it wouldn't be for long. The driver of a black SUV was in a lane that bypasses the roundabout to turn right, but instead, she started driving across the white stripes to go into the roundabout, nearly hitting Andrew. She didn't stop until Andrew blared the horn, and he told us she looked at him as if he had done something wrong. Personally, I think that's the worst part. She probably still thinks what she was doing was completely safe and legal. Andrew turned into a parking lot before texting his partner, "We finally have something for Wham Bam." He said they usually end their day by watching Wham Bam videos together. Aww. Salar watched 2 city buses collide when one of them turned right from the left lane. Salar stopped and directed traffic until police showed up and took over. He also took this video with his phone to get us a super clear look at the aftermath of the collision. He wanted to shout out his partner, Stephanie. They also watch Wham Bam videos each night before bedtime. Is this a thing? Who else does this? Let us know in the comments. Peter sent us a pretty scary video he captured after hearing some sirens outside and seeing that his neighbor's house was engulfed in flames. He told us the fire had started 2 blocks away. He encountered more flames as he drove away. He told us 8 of their neighbors lost their homes and about $100,000 in damage was done to their house and garden shed. In total, about 200 structures were lost or damaged. Morgan watched a Ford driver speed down an on-ramp and cut off an SUV before rear-ending a Dodge Charger. Morgan told us the Ford's airbags deployed, but it looked like everyone was okay. He kept going after deciding it was too dangerous for him to stop on the interstate. He told us, "San Marcos drivers strike again." Don't worry, we're already working on Volume 1 of Wham Bam Dashcam's Worst Drivers of Texas, so be sure to subscribe so you won't miss it when it drops. Johnny was headed home when an oncoming pickup truck turned in front of him, forcing him to slam on the brakes. When he did, the Ram van following him barely avoided rear-ending his Subaru Legacy. Thankfully, no collision occurred, but Johnny said he nearly had a heart attack after what had happened. This submitter was headed to lunch with his dad and sister when a car approaching behind them suddenly slammed into a power pole. It's hard to see what happened due to the angle of the camera, but the impact was enough to snap the power pole in 2 places and halt traffic when the lines started bouncing around. Our submitter stopped to check on the driver, and he said the man seemed dazed but not injured. On their way back, they saw firefighters who had responded to the scene. Anthony was driving in rural Georgia when he watched a crop duster fly across the highway before doubling back for another pass. Anthony said he smiled at the awesomeness he'd witnessed. If this episode made you smile, we hope you'll consider supporting us on Patreon and joining our invite-only Discord server. Happy landings!
Wham! Bam, we got a Patreon, man. Please support the show.